May the Lord protect us together. May He nourish us together. May we work together, uniting our strength for the good of humanity. May our learning be luminous and purposeful. May we never hate one another. May there be peace, peace, and perfect peace. Cooperation means help by each and for all. Ever since the beginning of time, this concern of each for all has been a beautiful hallmark of the Indian vision. From ancient times, well-knit communities here, driven by the ideal of mutual dependence, have provided the world with startling examples of fruitful coexistence. But with the plunders, aggression and loot that beset the country since the 11th century, India's social and economic harmony was shattered. As a result, the time-tested tradition of concern for all was ripped apart. The invaders plundered India for her material wealth, while inbred exploitative systems joined hands with it to reduce India's villages and its farmers to penury. For over 8 centuries, India was ravaged mercilessly, and the results were evident soon. A series of famines gripped the country, and the nation erupted into the revolutionary fervor of 1857, India's first war for independence. It was against this backdrop of poverty, exploitation, and the consequent revolt that the Cooperative Societies Act of 1904 was enacted. India's spirit of cooperation took a new shape, and the cooperative movement was officially born. The 1904 Act was replaced by the Cooperative Societies Act of 1912 that encouraged the emergence of non-rural credit cooperatives. And by 1950, most Indian cooperatives had begun to evolve a federal organizational structure. With the constitutional reforms of 1919, cooperation became a provincial subject, and cooperatives soon started blooming in the then 15 provinces and 15 princely states. Following constitutional reforms, various provinces enacted their own cooperative laws. The Bombay Cooperative Societies Act of 1925 was the first lead. Cooperative legislations followed in Bengal and Madras. Exhortation of Royal Commission on Agriculture in 1929 mentions that if cooperatives fail, there shall fail the best hope for India. And significant role of cooperatives during the Great Depression of 1930 to save farmers from rock-bottom prices of agricultural produce further reinforced indispensability of cooperatives for rural economy. Therefore, it was but natural that an exclusive agriculture credit department was created within Reserve Bank of India in 1935 to ensure flow of financial investment in agriculture through cooperative credit structure, which by then had acquired a well-unit 3-tier organizational structure from primary to provincial level. The Second World War provided yet another situation for cooperatives to prove their mettle to implement controlled distribution system to save consumers from scarcity of consumer goods. Seeing the multifaceted role of cooperatives in various fields, government appointed Cooperative Planning Committee in 1945 to chalk out a comprehensive plan of cooperative development. However, one of the most important landmarks in the history of this movement was reached in 1929 with the establishment of the All India Association of Provincial Cooperative Institutes. About 20 years later, the India Provincial Banks Association merged with it, and under the guidance of the founding chairman, Professor H.L. Qazi, emerged as NCUI, or the National Cooperative Union of India. Representing all segments of the cooperative movement, NCUI has worked diligently since then to promote and develop the cooperative movement across India. With 1947 came independence and new horizons of progress. Cooperation was acknowledged as the key to planned economic development and equity because it was the only way to reach out and involve the vast majority of poor and marginalized people inhabiting India. But to achieve this success, it was important to reawaken the cooperative spirit among the masses, a challenge first identified by Mahatma Gandhi. A cooperative society should be organized with the willing consent of the constituents. Love, understanding and fellow feeling should be the binding force. Cooperatives were considered specially important for agricultural development. Free India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, "If you leave small farmers without any cooperative organizations, you will subject them to poverty and stagnation forever." Therefore, he wanted to convulse India with cooperatives. A number of stalwarts took upon themselves the challenge to implement this vision at the ground level and ensure equality, equity and fullness of life to every citizen in free India. Cooperatives began to work with the public and the private sectors to serve the needs of farmers, workers as well as consumers. A favorable policy environment was provided by the government, including provision for state partnerships at all levels. In the next 5 decades, what had begun as a movement by the urban middle class, small farmers and poor workers in the informal sector entered a diverse variety of fields ranging from industries, public distribution, housing and functional fields like dairy, handlooms, fisheries and poultry to touch the day-to-day lives of millions of common Indians. Today, cooperatives are an inseparable part of India, with a network of more than 5 lakh cooperatives of different kinds and a membership of 23 crores. The Indian cooperative movement has reached all the villages and the cities of the country and has emerged as one of the largest people's movement in the world. Efficient support by institutions like Reserve Bank of India, NCDC, NDDB, NABARD, state and national level governments have worked tirelessly to create this great Indian success story. In this mammoth task, they have been actively aided by apex institutions like NCUI and many sectoral apex federations. Indian cooperatives today claim 100% coverage of villages and 71% coverage of rural households in offering agricultural credit critical inputs and have made India self-sufficient in terms of food grains availability. They also play a significant role in almost all other sectors of the Indian economy. In all, cooperatives provide direct employment to about 1.15 million people and generated self-employment to 14.79 million people across the country and have made significant contributions in improving the socio-cultural landscape of the country. It is universally acknowledged now that the earliest and most remarkable success achieved by cooperatives is in the field of agriculture. So cooperatives flourish at all stages of the agricultural production chain, beginning from credit and supply of raw materials to processing, marketing and protection of farmers' interests. Generally speaking, every farmer toiling in the field has one or the other cooperative institution working with him for support. Today, India's cooperative credit system is the largest in the world in terms of size and outreach. Established with the aim of facilitating rural savings as well as dispersing credit, rural banks like these have built up an impressive clientele that runs into hundreds in each of the villages. Apart from the mainstream state cooperative banks, a string of district-level cooperative banks and farmers' credit societies are also functional to meet the financial needs of the villages, especially of the poor. This credit system helped inculcate the spirit of cooperation in Indian farmers for better farming, business and living, and was the first step in making India self-sufficient in food grain production. And it is with these credit institutions that the concept of multi-purpose cooperatives first emerged. Today, the spirit of cooperation has steeped itself so deep into Indian agriculture that almost all support institutions have taken the cooperative form. About 25% of the country's total fertilizers are today produced in the cooperative sector by industrial giants such as IFFCO and CRIPCO. Over 36% of the total fertilizer produced in the country is being marketed by cooperatives that constitute the largest fertilizer producing marketing network in Asia. Similar cooperative institutions provide seeds, pesticides and other farming material necessary for the farmers. Like raw material supply, agricultural production too has also developed into a cooperative enterprise in many regions of India. This flourishing sugarcane producing and processing district of Maharashtra was once a deserted wasteland. With the concerted efforts of the local people, organized under the banner of a sugar cooperative, cane cultivation was started here. Soon, the determination worked a miracle. The region is today one of the biggest producers of sugar in the country. Down south of the coastline of Kerala, coconut growers have organized their money and labor to enhance the number of coconut trees and have established exclusive plantations for this purpose. Loans and technical aid are available from these cooperatives for others to start new plantations or rejuvenate old ones. Western India offers some remarkable success stories in cooperative cotton production. Cooperatives like these provide cotton seeds, fertilizers and technical expertise to the cotton growers of the state and later sell the produce in bales to lucrative markets. In line with its philosophy of providing total support to agriculture, cooperatives also have prominent presence in the processing and value addition sectors. The most remarkable stories in this sector come from the sugarcane and dairy industries. Processing the primary produce to facilitate further production or value addition is the most obvious activity at these cooperatives. And at many locations, these processes are carried out and controlled with specialized equipment and technical support. The scale of processing at many locations is impressive. Cooperative storage and processing units in the dairy sector that began as small and temporary setups have grown into giant multi-location, multi-unit structures, collecting and processing over 1 million units of the primary produce every day. Thanks to cooperatives, India has emerged as one of the largest producer of milk in the world. Processed and value-added products from the Indian dairy industry today reach out to the national as well as global markets. Some of the names from this sector like Amul have become household names globally. Inspired by the resounding success of the leading dairy cooperatives, many other dairy cooperatives have come up in different parts of the country. Apart from processing and value addition, almost all sectors of agriculture have organized marketing channels at the grassroots, state and national levels. Some of the largest agricultural produce marketing institutions are today found in the cooperative sector. Established with a handful of members initially, these cooperatives have grown into giant confederations, representing the interests of thousands of member cooperatives and millions of small and big farmers. Engaged in multifaceted activities ranging from ensuring remunerative prices to the growers to providing quality products to the consumers, these federations have emerged as some of the leading agri-business players in the world, clocking annual turnovers exceeding thousands of crores. Cooperatives have played a vital role in protecting not only the producers but also the consumers' interest. Inspired by its historic role of tackling the essential commodity crisis, consumer cooperatives have been set up at the grassroots, state and national levels. Available to the public in the form of supermarkets, retail stores or small village level shops, outlets like these have played a significant role in protecting the consumer from inflation, bad quality and monopolistic designs of traders. Producers and consumers' interests notwithstanding, the most significant intervention by cooperatives has been in the field of support provided to the poor, weak and marginalized sections of the society. For the founding fathers of our Constitution wanted to wipe the tears from every eye and eradicate poverty from the nation. Cooperatives have played a significant role in showing how the talents and efforts of poor artisans, workers and laborers can be organized into meaningful enterprises. Across the length and breadth of the nation, handloom cooperatives are busy weaving the skills and efforts of thousands of craftsmen into stable sources of livelihood. A concern for the marginalized women living in extreme poverty and squalor has led to the formation of a number of women cooperatives like Seva and Working Women's Forum like these. Driven by the commitment that the poor have right to an organized social platform, credit, education, healthcare and all other basic services, forums like these organize women around their households, markets and communities to build a strong field base. Working along with forums like these are the labor cooperatives that protect and promote the interests of the skilled and unskilled laborers. Such cooperatives have taken remarkably contemporary and innovative steps such as the protection of the rights of sex workers, set up with the objective of fighting for the recognition of sex work as work and sex workers as workers, and for a secure social existence of sex workers and their children. Organizations like these have thousands of members spread across the region and the state. A similar concern for women in the cooperatives can be seen in the banking sector. Established with the objective of inculcating saving habit among women and promoting entrepreneurship among them, banks like these are now common in the cooperative sector. Some of these banks are all women set up, employing hundreds of women at all positions and are unique experiments in women's empowerment in the financial sector. In the urban banking sector, many other cooperative institutions cry out for attention. Some of them that have worked exclusively for the benefit of the urban poor. Judged A-class by the auditors, banks like these have not only won many laurels and awards, but have built up an impressive infrastructure and amassed deposits worth crores. All these trends have helped them not only survive but also outperform some private banks without any government support. Along the shores of numerous coastal states, fisheries cooperatives are flourishing today. Poor fishermen have come together under the cooperative banner to protect their rights and multiply their prosperity through mutual help and cooperation. A rather unusual effort at forming cooperatives within an endangered tribal profession group can be witnessed here at Wadanemeli. The cooperative was formed with the primary objective of improving the economic conditions of the Irulas by providing sales outlets for their products, skills and competency. Snakes are reared under the cooperative for their venom. The cooperative runs a snake venom collection center, where venom collection is demonstrated to tourists and the collected venom offered for sale. Another unconventional area to come under cooperative organization is the insurance sector. Although insurance cooperatives are still small, they serve their clientele effectively. The commitment of the cooperatives to building a new, educated and equitable society in free India has also been commendable. Near every successful cooperative enterprise, one can see educational institutions busy creating a bright future for the region. There are also remarkable instances of cooperative effort in the field of healthcare. Cooperative hospitals have been started across most regions of the country to provide advanced medical services to the economically weaker sections of the society at cheaper rates. Equipped with a variety of departments, services in these hospitals range from basic fields like general medicine and surgery to specialized fields like cancer therapy and pediatric surgery. The commitment of the cooperative movement to touch all aspects of the lives of the common man forced it to enter the housing sector. People of different economic profiles have come together under cooperatives for affordable housing solutions. An unusual, though commendable effort at organizing engineers can be seen in the numerous engineers cooperatives. Specializing in diverse fields such as electrical, civil and mechanical engineering, these cooperatives can be seen building roads, building, irrigation and electrical structures critical to the development of the region. Like engineers, school students have also formed cooperatives to look after their own interests. Some of these cooperatives ply regular bus service for the students besides meeting their daily stationery and publication needs. Even as the Indian cooperative movement changes shape and gathers pace, new challenges emerge. Today, cooperatives face pressure from two different directions. On one hand are the rapidly advancing forces of globalization, while on the other, internal ones generated by the attitudinal and perceptual problems of the managers. In order to survive meaningfully, it is important to overcome these challenges successfully. And the most potent weapons of the cooperative movement in this fight are education and training. All the stakeholders of the cooperatives, namely the members, leaders and the managers, are being educated and trained in the difficult task of living up to the new reality. 100 Junior Training Centers or JTCS run by state cooperative unions and state governments are joined by 19 regional institutes of cooperative management and institutes of cooperative management in this formidable task. Besides regional and state level training institutions, the success of the cooperative movement thrown up a number of national level institutions to train cooperative managers for tomorrow. Founded in the memory of one of the pioneers in cooperative training and human resource development, the Vaikunt Bhai Mehta National Institute of Cooperative Management strives to produce a new breed of professional rural managers who can help rural cooperatives professionalize their management and empower the rural people. The Institute of Rural Management at Anand offers a compulsory paper on Indian cooperative management to fulfill the massive requirement of Indian cooperative managers and is consistently working towards building new rural management knowledge and theories for the equitable, democratic and eco-friendly development of rural India. The achievements of the Indian cooperative movement are so significant that they have made India a prominent member of the International Cooperative Alliance. Indian cooperatives have entered into a host of collaborations with fraternal cooperative movements across the world, and India has contributed in many other ways to strengthen the global cooperative movement. Not only has the movement provided strength and leadership to other countries, it has also provided India with many outstanding political leaders. It has also helped foster the spirit of democratic functioning and governance at the grassroots level and has admirably lived up to its role as one of the founding pillars of the democratic state. As Pandit Nehru had foreseen, cooperatives did emerge as the schools of democracy in India. Assessing this movement that is more than 100 years old now, a need for greater democratization and autonomy of functioning is being felt today. A constitutional amendment to this effect is on the anvil. Living institutions critique their own existence. Yet, even after so much has been achieved, the quest continues. A quest for economic development along with a renewed commitment to ensuring equality. The quest is not for building a vast business empire, but to actively contribute to the creation of a socio-economic order without exploitation and poverty, and vibrant with the cooperative values of democracy, equality, and equity.